The Darkfinders, the twisted path of Shadowborn. There are those who walk the path of balance, who channel the gifts of mana and return its essence to the world. And then there are the Darkfinders, those who twist, wound, and consume mana, leaving only corruption in their wake. Once they were mana-born, gifted wielders of the elements, attuned to the great currents that flow through Tezlon. But somewhere along the path, they chose consumption over harmony, power over balance. Instead of threading mana back into the world, they hoarded it, warped it, and bent it to their singular will. Their greed wounded the lands they walked, draining the life from forests, turning rivers stagnant, and leaving cities to wither in their wake. The price of unrestrained power. Mana is a force of creation, of cycle and rebirth, but the Darkfinders severed themselves from this natural flow. As they fed upon mana without returning it, their bodies began to decay, unable to contain the raw, unfiltered energy they consumed. The first signs were subtle, veins darkening beneath the skin, an unnatural hunger that could never be sated, a growing aversion to sunlight. But over time their forms became twisted mockeries of life. Their flesh thinned to the point of translucence, their bones took on the color of dying embers, and their eyes darkened into pits of mana-drained void. Eventually their mortal forms failed entirely, and they became wraiths, spectral beings composed only of cursed mana and shadow. The lords of tainted mana. Wherever a Darkfinder lingers, the land sickens. The roots shrivel, the winds carry whispers of despair, and mana wells run dry. They carve sigils of shadow into the ground, embedding their curse into the very soil, creating places of eternal ruin known as hollow lands, regions where mana can no longer flow freely, and where only decay remains. Their abilities mirror those of the Mana-born, but where a Mana-born conjures, a Darkfinder devours. A fire Mana-born wields the sacred flame, using its energy to purify, to protect. A fire Darkfinder scorches the land into endless cinders, burning mana into nothingness. A water Mana-born calls forth healing tides, restoring the wounded. A water Darkfinder drowns the lifeblood of mana, leaving behind poisoned lakes and blackened rain. A shadow Mana-born walks the veil, weaving between light and dark. A shadow Darkfinder becomes the void itself, consuming all light, all warmth, all hope. The Wraithbound. Darkfinders who consume mana for too long reach their final transformation. They become Wraithbound, creatures neither living nor dead, bound by pure corrupted energy. Their physical forms are lost to time, leaving behind only the shadows of what they once were, wrapped in flowing cloaks of night, their voices hollow echoes of the past. Their hunger never fades, their need for mana only deepens. To face a Darkfinder is to face despair itself. Their voices carry the weight of all they have drained, whispers of power, of temptation, of surrender. And in the end, the greatest horror is not their wraith-like forms, nor the cursed lands they leave behind, but the truth that every Darkfinder was once like the Mana-born. They were once warriors of balance. They were once human, until mana consumed them in the end. The Divan, serpents of Shadowdwell. Yet, beyond the horrors of the Darkfinders, something worse has taken notice. The Divan are a race of parasitic, draconic serpents that do not belong to this world. They slither through the cracks in the mana veil, creeping from Shadowdwell, a realm shaped by the dark serpent Typhon himself. They are not mere beasts, but ancient, intelligent, and insatiable, hunting both Shadowborn and Manaborn alike to serve their endless hunger. These predators do not simply kill, they consume. The Divan are parasites of the highest order. They invade the bodies of the living, their twisted forms coiling around the souls of their hosts, feeding off their mana, warping their forms, and ultimately replacing them. The host's soul does not escape. It is trapped within the divan, forced into an eternal nether-space where its voice fades into oblivion. They can leap from body to body, slipping into fresh hosts before their current one withers. A warrior who fights a divan may not realize they have already lost, for the parasite has already burrowed beneath their skin. Even the Darkfinders fear them. The Wraithbound whisper legends of dark lords who fell only to rise again with the eyes of a serpent. The Divan do not merely kill the Shadowborn, they wear them like armor, twisting their bodies into grotesque new forms, forging them into vessels for their own dark purpose. The rise of the Divan marks something far worse than mere corruption. It marks the devouring of souls, the unraveling of identity, and the slow, inescapable conquest of a force older than time itself. Beware the Darkfinders, beware the Shadowborn, beware the Divan, for when the veil finally shatters, there will be nothing left to stop them.